If you've spent time looking for a job recently, you are likely familiar with the exhaustion, the endless scrolling, the anxiety of the silence, and the creeping sense that every unanswered application is a personal failure. But this exhaustion is rarely about a lack of effort. It is a symptom of an individual attempting to process an incredibly vast macroeconomic system in real time. Historically, job seeking was physically constrained. As this archival photograph of an unemployment line shows, your search was bound by geography and the local paper. You could see the boundaries of the market and your place within it. Today, those boundaries have dissolved into what economists call real-time labor market information. It is a relentless stream of data, millions of digital postings across thousands of platforms, updated every second. When you try to manually parse that global volume through a single screen, you aren't just looking for work, you are trying to do the work of data infrastructure. Within this system, there is a natural delay known as frictional unemployment. This timeline represents that frictional gap, the time it takes for a healthy economy to match a specific worker to a specific role. It is a structural constant of the market, not a reflection of your resume. The problem occurs when candidates spend this unavoidable waiting period trying to manually outpace the flood of new postings. The act of searching becomes a second, unpaid full-time job. Attempting to outwork natural friction often leads to a cycle of overexertion followed by total disengagement. To sustain a search through this gap, the method of engagement has to change. Navigating this volume of information requires delegating the heavy lifting to automation, a form of digital labor. Infrastructure like the ONET database contains hundreds of standardized job definitions, mapping your granular skills to specific requirements with mathematical precision. The algorithm cross-references your profile instantly, performing comparative labor that would take a human researcher months. UK Job Matcher acts as the engine for this process, performing this digital labor on your behalf. It functions as a background processor, quietly scraping and matching while you focus on other priorities. Offloading macro market analysis to the software reclaims the mental energy typically lost to the search. With data processing delegated, your role shifts. Like a marathon runner, you don't focus on the distant finish line, but on your current mile split. This chart contrasts outputs with inputs. The flat line is the job offer, an outcome that is often out of your immediate control. The bars are your inputs, the daily, measurable actions you can take. The UK Job Matcher analytics page translates the chaotic labor market into these manageable, personal metrics. You track applications processed, how many viewed your profile, and which skills trigger matches. Tracking these daily inputs provides a tangible way to measure progress that doesn't rely on an immediate response from an employer. It shifts the focus from an uncertain outcome to a certain action. This balance between a dynamic market and individual stability is often described by the economic philosophy of flexicurity. It's the idea that a modern economy needs both flexibility and a reliable way for workers to navigate transitions. When you possess tools that automate the data flood and provide clear analytics, you are applying that philosophy to your own life. Security comes from having a system that makes the transition manageable. The job search moves from a state of frantic reaction to one of steady, sustainable, long-term endurance. You pace the inputs, you trust the metrics, and you let the platform handle the macroeconomic friction. The labor market will always be a complex, data-driven system, but navigating it can be a grounded and entirely personal routine.